Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you made a great training day yesterday and you're going to make a great training day today. And one of the reasons why is because you're going to continue to think of your dog as a dog. Again, I've always said it's a lot of fun thinking of our dogs as a person when we dress them up for Halloween, or we put cool sunglasses, like around here, we'll put Elvis sunglasses on our dogs, things like that. That's a lot of fun. But outside of that, we try to steer away from anything that would draw us towards anthropomorphism, meaning we impute our human qualities into our dog. Again, it can be fun, but it can also have a lot of hazards associated with it, because when you think you own a little person in a fur coat, then you expect the behaviors that come back from owning a little person in a fur coat. You raise them to a higher standard, a standard that's typically very difficult for a dog to ever even come close to reaching. So we're always on guard, constantly on guard for anything and everything that's out there on the internet, out there that's being promulgated by anyone that pulls dogs owners into that really deadly trap called anthropomorphism. We want to take more of an anthropo denial approach. So that's why we've been harping for like the last 3 days on calming signals. Calming signals. Again, what are these signals, and are they really intended to be used as a form of communication to calm us down, to calm other dogs down? And we talked all about that yesterday, about the dogs not having theory of mind. That's something unique to humans, and so on and so forth. So we're going to get into it today, and what's going to happen today is that we got a post that was that we have running out there in the old Facebook world. And it's just a post on a self-guided obedience challenge, and we were inviting people to take that, especially if they're stuck in their homes right now, just to kind of give them a little bit of help with their dogs. And during that post, in one of the posts, we have a video here, the one that's behind me on the screen. This was shot over a year ago, right, Joshua? Yeah, it was over a year ago, and it's just a video that promotes basic obedience. But when we put this out there, we got this from one of the people who saw this video on a post, and I won't read the whole thing, but just basically says in essence, every time you give this dog a cue, it gives off calming signals. Sit, you get a lip lick. Down, the dog sniffs the ground. You get multiple head turns while you're walking around. Heavy panting throughout the entire video. Do you use a lot of corrections? So in a second here, I'm going to give Joshua an opportunity to explain exactly what happened during the filming of this particular video and why those signals being given by his dog Vesper, it's his very own dog, are not calming signals. And the reason why we want to push this out there and show you is because we don't want you to be deterred from furthering your dog's training simply because it gives you signals, or it simply decides to look over here to check something else out versus you, because why? I've been so trained at this level that doing this work is like elementary school work, and I'm kind of a little bored, so I'm going to check out the squirrel over there and hold this down at the same time. If we can multitask, so can dogs. And they can certainly do it. And I don't want you to be deterred, because so many people are being deterred from doing proper training because they're worried about these calming signals, when at the end of the day, that's not what they are. Okay, but before I turn this thing over to Joshua, I just want to show you guys something real quick. So remember, if you watched yesterday's video, we had Eloise. And again, I kind of point out with Eloise that under a certain context, when I was displaying a certain behavior, Eloise was fearful of me. But she wasn't sending me calming signals. She was simply behaving within the context of the situation at that moment, the encounter with me. As soon as the filming was done, I turned to Joshua and I said, hey man, let's reshoot this thing again, but this time I'm going to change just a little bit of what I do. I'm going to just change it. So here we go. This was moments after the Facebook Live yesterday. And now you see Eloise ready to go. She wants to take that treat there. Just because I'm behaving differently, no longer is she fearful of me. We have some tail wagging going on. That's a little bit of conflict. Always is. Tail wags for many reasons. It all depends on which side of the body the tail wags predominantly on, so on and so forth. But as you see there, I'm the same guy. This was minutes after the Facebook Live yesterday. I'm in the same happy mood that I was in earlier. It's just that my behavior changed a little bit. I sent different signals to the dog. That's all. And so the dog, again, with communication being asymmetrical, I sent a signal. She responded to the signals that I sent. And that's what they do. And if we pluck out all that theory of mind, attributing mental states to one another, beliefs, intentionality, as though showing my teeth was some sort of encoded message. Dogs don't need to go through all that neurogenesis and all that scrambling around with brain cells and brain neurons. No, that's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. Just like you're driving, the light turns red, you stop your car. That light could care less what emotional state you were in at that moment. It sent a signal, and as a consequence of that signal, you stopped your car. And that's all it is. And as you saw there with Eloise, she changed drastically because instead of sending a red light to her, moments after that Facebook Live event, I sent a green light. And that's how it works. Okay, so now I'm going to pass my microphone over here to Joshua. Still trying to work on this technology here, so anyone have any suggestions? We can do a little bit better here and don't have to pass microphones back and forth. Please send them in. Love to have those suggestions. Okay, Joshua, so based upon what we read, and again, I'll lean over here just real quick. Sorry, we'll go back and forth. Based upon what I read in that post, the response that we got from that, can you just walk us through what happened on that particular day and the signals that your dog is giving you?
You bet. Yep. So on this particular day, we went out there. I think it was about 9:30 in the morning. So we tried to beat the heat, but it was July. And so it took us a little bit longer because we kept having to take water breaks and find some shade. I even started up the Taming the Wild van to get the AC going, and we hung out in there for a minute and would go back out and shoot a little bit more. So a large portion of what you guys see in this video here in just a moment is take 15. It's not the first take. And a large part of that is because, and I'm gonna boast a little bit, is that she was doing too well. And we wanted to set a standard that was accurate, something that we could say, yeah, this is what you get if you sign up for our basic program, but she was doing too well. So we had to dial it back just a little bit. So time actually kind of helped us out there. But yeah, so it was hot, it was miserable, I was miserable, she was miserable, and we were in a busy park. You don't see people in the park, but we made it that way intentionally in order to, keep the safety and the privacy of the other people around. Wasn't really familiar with the laws at the moment, but so we just made sure that there was nobody else in the background of our shots. But a lot of other dogs, a lot of other people, and things like that. So we were in a very distracting environment. So here in a second, I'm going to play this, and you can see she's very attentive. We're also right next to a horse farm, and I have a funny horse story about her, which is why horses might be such a big distraction. But particularly, I want to mention right here, just a second ago, if I can do this right, you see the lip licking as we're coming to that stop. And that's what I think was mentioned as one of the calming signals during that. Calming signal. Yeah. And the signal of lipping we use all the time to try to interpret what the dog is thinking or trying to send us at that moment. When we see that lip being licked, we do take caution at that moment. But in this particular scenario, I have not done anything in this specific situation that my dog would feel as though that it needs to calm me for any reason. Again, it was hot. We were taking regular water breaks. I would more so contribute this to the elements more so than a behavior being sent to me for any particular reason. Would you agree? Absolutely. So we would come to a stop. You see that lipping, and then I'm told that when she looks away, that's another calming signal. Again, like I said, this was actually a very busy park, and over here you can see the horse stables as well. But just behind us, there were kids running around. They had another dog. They had like 2 Shih Tzus with them. And so this is a dog with ears pointed forward, head turned, and looking in a specific direction. This is not an avoidance behavior. This is not her looking away or trying to calm me down or make herself less of a threat to me. And that's what I believe to be the claim on that comment. But as you can see, her ears are fully erect, up forward, and that's not where they would be as if she was trying to calm me down. And we'll go through the rest of this. And I think one of the other mentions was the down with the grass sniffing. And I don't feel like I even need to go into that. The grass sniffing there, I was told that that was a calming signal. Goodness gracious. Take your dog out into the grass and see if your dog doesn't sniff the grass. So, again, this is one of those situations where you're out in the grass. These are all new smells. Do keep in mind that the grass is not just the grass to the dog. They're smelling all types of things. That is a playground for smells in the grass. We always talk about how when we're working obedience here, the grass is one of the final tests. We'll heal the dog through the grass as a final test and through the proofing stages of training, because if you try to train a dog on grass, you got to give it a little bit for them to go through the grass and smell it and go on, and finally you'll have their attention enough to start training on grass.
Yeah, I just want to add to that point. Yesterday I was working with a beagle, and again, beagles are low to the ground, low drive. Parking lot, spot on, and I do mean spot on. The second I stepped on the grass, you'd think that I'd never worked on heel before. And so that's why we do that. We train them on a hard surface to begin with, because we want to make it as easy as possible for the dog to learn. Once you've learned and you've got all the basics down, you've got all the concepts down, you have all the rules, then I can start to take it up a notch. Just like you with school. You learn the basics first in math, and then they start to add on a whole bunch of angles and triangles, and they added the arithmetic. That's when they lost me. But we take it up from there. And again, like you said, I dare anyone right now to say that they can walk their dog on grass, and not at any point during that entire day does your dog not sniff the grass. That has survival relevance to it, a survival benefit. And I've always said that dogs will learn what they need to know to survive. And out there in that grass, like you said, not only is it a playground, but I've had Facebook Live videos about animals wanting to eat rabbit poop, raccoon poop. There's no telling what's in that grass. That's a beautiful, beautiful park that was given to everyone that lives here in the Memphis area. One of the finest parks I've ever been in my life, and it is well visited. But go ahead and wrap it up here, Joshua.
Yeah. And one other thing I wanted to mention is that, so I've done a lot of fundamental protection work with her, and I've gone even further into tracking and trailing. And one of the things in which that will grab her attention, which I enjoy that grabs her attention, is disturbed vegetation. So that's another thing as far as her nose in the grass all the time, because that disturbed vegetation grabs her attention like that, which I enjoy. I intentionally trained that. So anyways, moving along, we can kind of go through this, and it kind of comes down to the same things: the grass sniffing, the turning, the looking away, and then the constant panting. And again, I just contribute the panting to the fact that it was a July day, August day, and it was stinking hot. It was stinking hot. I know I don't do well in the heat. She doesn't do well in the heat, and so we were taking multiple breaks throughout the entire time. But the last thing that I want, excuse me, Vesper, the last thing that I wanted to address on here was the doorway. In that post, there was a mentioning of the doorway. And I can see how out of context this looks interesting, and not until it was brought to my attention did I notice it. But because there's music playing over this and not my voice, you can't hear me giving the commands in this video. It looks like maybe I asked her to come through the doorway prior to when I actually did, and she was just hesitant to do so. And that's not the case. What this is I was demonstrating the fact that I can walk through a doorway and my dog is locked to the ground right there. And I can see how that looks like maybe the dog is a little hesitant at that moment to follow me into the doorway. And that's what was mentioned on the post.
That was the command, wait.
Yeah, so she was waiting at that door. And so all I was just demonstrating that I could walk through that door without her budging, without her even so much as thinking that she might be able to go. And then I'll move along here. I do it a second time, and then I say heel. You can see me say heel with my head. And that's the moment that I say heel, and you can see her respond to that signal immediately. Oh my gosh, what's happening here?
You got it.
There we go. You can see her respond immediately at the moment my head moves.
There you go.
There you go. And that's the moment that I told her heel and come through the door. So, anyways, with the main gist of this is that within a context of what's going on in the environment, you can look at a bunch of different signals and contribute those to calming signals and or avoidance. And when it really comes down to looking at the full picture, it doesn't really seem to be that.
Yeah, we had the benefit of knowing the entire day. And again, viewers are not going to know that. They only get snippets of this video that was shot over. That had to have been about a 7-hour period, moving around to different locations in the park, coming back to here, giving Vesper a break, giving us a break. We are not professional photographers or cinematographers, whatever you call it, videographers. We're not. You probably picked that up by now by just watching some of these Facebook Lives. So we did the very best that we could on that particular day, and we really appreciate Vesper and her effort that she made to it. And the whole premises behind this, today's Facebook Live, was for you to always, before you zero in, you just hone in on that one look away, that pant, that paw up. Make sure you rewind, just like Joshua did in this video. Go back just a little bit and take in the entire scenario. Take in that environment. Take in those elements. Take in what level of training has my dog been trained to at this point? What does it understand? Do I have my dog's attention? Do I have my dog's motivation? Is the cognition ready for this level of training? Who's here? Who's not here? All of this has to be taken in. Anyone that has ever come to see me with their dog, and I've done a behavioral evaluation of their dog, they have to fill out a form that is about 20 pages long. That's the first step. That's me dialing back months, years even, so I can take behavior within a context, because that's what you have to do. Think of it like frames going through those old 35 millimeter cameras, one frame at a time. You roll about 10 frames, and all of a sudden there's a whole new set of frames because you put the camera up, then you got it out, and you took a whole bunch of more pictures, and you put it up again. It is like that with our dogs. So I encourage you, always move cautiously. If you think your dog is stressed, remember we have good stress and we have bad stress. Go by your gut instinct. That's why you have that little thing in the back of your head, the thing that raises those hairs up on the back of your neck. They're there because they're watching, learning, and observing when you are not. It's there. Listen to it. The hallmark of a really good dog owner and a really good dog trainer is the ability to sense, and then the ability to take what I've sensed and put it in the right catalog it the way it's supposed to be. Put it in that box, take it out of this box over here. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you take a broad angle approach, a wide angle lens, not a telescopic lens. You won't get it done that way. Okay, so we're just going to wrap up calming signals. Hope everyone's calmed down about it now. Again, we love our dogs, but we love them for what they are. Again, until science can prove to me that they can think like me, and I welcome that day. Please, sure make my life a little bit easier, make their life a little bit easier, and yours as well. Okay, guys, tomorrow we're going to move on to something new, and if you have any suggestions, you have any comments you want to send our way, make sure you do it. We'll be glad to address them, and we'll be glad to shoot a video of your choice down the road. We still got some more time. We're approaching that halfway mark, by the way. It's sneaking up. The halfway mark, we're going to be there, and then we got another half a year. Trust me, we got plenty in store. You guys have a great day. Make a great training day, and remain calm out there. And we'll see you tomorrow.